have uh, opportunities to mate and create their children, which would not show horns. And eventually, over the generations, this takes thousands and thousands of years, maybe even tens of thousands. But eventually, the horn would get larger, and you end up with a rhinoceros. Now, I know that kind of sounds really dumb, but that's the basics of it. There's tons of other information that you can go and research. I just wanted to get you interested, or if you don't know anything about this at all, just inform you the basics. But that's basically how evolution works in the wild, and how it's worked up till now, until we've gotten rid of survival of the fittest by having the capability to make anything, or any human, or even animals. If they're injured, we have veterinarians that can help them if they have infections or funguses, or if they're injured or abused or put in dog fights or something. We have the ability to get rid of the fact that they could have died if we weren't present. Survival of the fittest can't completely die because we can't prevent people from jumping off a building or doing stupid things. So in a sense, it's still there, because if those people that tend to do things that are harmful to themselves don't get to breed before they end themselves and their lives, then those characteristics might not be passed on. But I mean, there's different factors that cause people to do crazy things, and I mean, anyone has the potential to be crazy, so take that how you want it. But basically, the mutations ended up benefiting some organisms and not benefiting others. And that's how species fall off the map. Some weren't able to compete, and that's why 99% of the species that have ever existed are extinct now. Because just some things don't last, and the way that nature causes us to change, to adapt to our surroundings, can either help us or harm us and end up taking us out or making us better. Humans ended up evolving larger brains so that we can basically calculate everything that we would need in order to survive. We started making tools and using fire, and we're just so far ahead of our ape cousins that, I mean, we're in a different league. We're at the top of the food chain. But if you take all of our DNA and spread it out, and then account for like pairs, because there's copies of our DNA, you can find strands where they're exactly the same in two different spots. If you account for all of that, there's only 1% difference between us and chimps. So we're just 1% different than them. We're all related here on this planet because we all have a common ancestor. When the first cell was basically formed, I don't really know how that happened, but I mean, some scientists have said that extremely high temperatures with the right organic material can create amino acids, which are the building blocks of proteins, which are the building blocks of life. So, I mean, that's just insane. I would love to be around when we finally discover truly everything that's happened. I don't know if we'll ever discover why it all happened. Some people go to religion for that. But, I mean, the more we learn, the less the religion has credit, basically. Or you could say the more it has credit. I mean, you can take that either way. But basically, we've come to this point where we're evolving only because of things that we cause for ourselves. Like, we now have cell phones, and lots of people are always on them, and they're looking at these tiny screens. Some scientists suggest that we'll start to have bigger eyes for looking at smaller things for that purpose, because people with those eyes will be more abundant. But then again, it's not bad for you to have smaller eyes because we can correct them And that's to say if smaller eyes are bad or not. But that's just one study that they had mentioned that. But another cool reason why there are mutations and why they're extremely beneficial for us in our DNA is because if we were all identical, sure, we could exist and move forward and we would all have different thoughts. But if we were genetically identical, then we would all be, susceptible to the same diseases. I mean, I guess we can use the peanut allergy again. If we were all allergic to peanuts, I mean, we could. Well, no, that's silly because we're all allergic to poison. Well, poisons kill us all, but basically what I'm trying to say is, I'll use an example of something that's a little bit more simple than us. Bananas. If you've ever eaten a banana, 99% chance it was exactly genetically a copy of all other bananas that you've eaten before. And this is because we basically have bred bananas to give certain characteristics. We want them to be sweet. We want them to be a certain length. We want them to come in this certain bunch. We've basically manipulated that in a lab. Well, not really in a lab. You can manipulate that kind of stuff in a lab, which is GMO, but that's an entirely other topic. You can genetically modify an organism just by the way you plant it, the way you treat it. We've genetically modified dogs by looking for certain characteristics in wolves and keeping those and basically making those breed to give us a more beneficial to us dog, like faster or more docile. But anyway, with bananas, that's just the way that we've determined is the best banana. There's currently, I think it's either a mold, some type of banana-killing organism out there that's attacking our bananas, and I say ours as the world's bananas. They're basically attacking our bananas, and there's nothing really that we can do about it because all of the bananas in existence are genetically susceptible to that disease that's killing them off. And we created that. So that's basically a little bit about basically the survival of the fittest and kind of how evolution works. If you have questions, just let me know. But I just wanted to touch that a little bit and just talk about it because that's what I wanted to talk about it. But basically, survival of the fittest is kind of gone for humans because there's nothing really that you can be born with that we can't help you or take care of. You can even lose a limb later on in your life, which would be very disadvantageous for you. That's not even a word, is it? Disadvantageous for you if you were in the wild and you needed to hunt for food. Losing a limb would be detrimental, but you can survive in this society now, and that's a really cool point for us to be in. It's been around for a while, but I mean, technology is getting better. You can have prosthetics. You can lead a normal life with almost any condition. We're living a lot longer, like I said in my last video. You can get married and have kids, or not get married and have kids. That's also a popular thing going on right now. But that's probably a topic for another video. But anyway, you guys have a great night. I'll talk to you tomorrow.